Okay, welcome to week 10, take 2. I lost my video thanks to technology. We'll look at photography, selfies, and self-identity. Very striking photos here. We have been made. We have been our ability to take photos and attaching our photographs to identity has been accelerated by technological developments. The cameras have become cheaper, smaller, portable, more mobile, so we're able to capture the scenes in front of us. Um, me generation, the millennials were labeled that, very narcissistic, very self-entitled. I don't know if any one of you belongs to the millennial generation, but I think you're more in the Gen Z generation. Do you identify with this label? Are you seeing yourself doing the same? Is a visual property very important to your self-identity? Yeah? Selfie-ish. This story has a feature on front page of the New York Post that looks at, these are one of many stories, the controversy of selfies, that this lady is taking a photo of herself, capturing the scene of something quite tragic, a man trying to commit suicide, and she decides to capture it for her Instagram or Facebook feed. Have we descended to that sort of, have we descended to that level where we are more interested in how we look and how we are capturing significant events rather than human lives, for instance? So something to think about. Selfies important. Is this a true representation of the closeness of all of these superstars, or is it just for the cameras? How have cameras changed our behavior as human beings, and how have we identified ourselves in front of the camera or behind the camera? So authenticity, there's another question that arises from digital photography. It's become our signature, moving away from text, moving away from audio. The visual medium has become so strong and so powerful. It is part of our identity. Do we want to look this way? Do we want to behave this way? Do we want to appear this way in front of a camera? Is this us? Is this real? Questions that also are raised by technology. Now, we know that the camera is a medium for portraying the self, the relationship between photos and the ways we perceive ourselves. So are we who we are when we take the photos? Is that a true reflection of ourselves? Is that a true representation of ourselves? It's a question you can ask yourself. It's a question that's not going to have a right or wrong answer. Do we find ourselves sitting upright, correcting our attire, adjusting our hair because there's a camera in the room? Does the camera in room change the behavior of a group of people, right? Why is this important? Why do we need to portray a certain image that will be likely 99% likely be posted on a public forum? Excuse me. The photography initially has an aesthetic function. You know, we want to put out an image that looks good. We want to put out an image that represents a certain, to fit a certain sort of stereotype. Has that changed? Has the digital camera changed the way photography is being looked at? Has the accessibility of the camera given photos a social function, and not just primarily aesthetic? Has it been a way of capturing how we communicate to the other person? Is that something you've seen evolve? If you're a photographer, if you do this for a living, you find that maybe if you're working on capturing a scene, do you find yourself working with the subject to kind of like make sure the scene looks a certain way so it delivers a particular message? It delivers like a particular a meaning to the audience at hand? Do you later crop out your photos? So photography is very powerful to do that, right? It first emerged in the early 19th century, and it was in a time when it was a very expensive technology. Only certain households would have it, only certain people of certain class would have it. And if you do go back in history to look at family portraits, to look at how they dressed, how they sat, even their surroundings, how they were set up in a studio, it marked a certain level of wealth. And that that has changed immensely with the advent of cheaper technology, cameras becoming smaller, moving away from film and able to capture images digitally and share it quite easily. Today, it's become something as easy as to put in your pocket because it comes with your mobile phone, or even you get your DSLRs or your other ranges of cameras from different sorts of sizes. You can actually carry. It's become cheaper to own one and to capture a scene, using the scene to communicate, for instance, to your peers or to, say, another community. The question is, do we then also look at the camera as a technologically deterministic tool? Do we find ourselves behaving differently because there's a camera involved, or there's a particular camera involved, as a mobile phone camera or a DSLR? Do we know what meaning we attach to a DSLR? Does it mean that it's going to be a photo for the press? Or a mobile phone, do you know that your friend is going to upload it on a social feed? Do we change the way we sit, we act, we speak, we portray ourselves? So that affects how our identity is created. Is that a true representation of ourselves? Do you do that as a young person? Do you combine digital photography with networking with your peers or with someone you want to date? The first person, you know, if you're meeting someone new for the first time and you want to create a good impression, what photos do you send across to him or her? Those virtual identities are heavily attached to, clearly, with digital photography. So it also gives us a point to raise about sharing similar cultural codes. For instance, if we're in a concert and we're snapping a photo of our favorite singer, celebrity, are we sharing that photos? Are we sharing that cultural codes alongside amongst each other? Are we comparing images that we take of the same particular celebrity or event or music star, of a political issue, of a political event? Do we then find that we are bonded through that act of sharing? Digital photography has aided that as well. The other thing that you will also realize, how digital photography has made everything private quite public. If you know your Meyerowitz argument about the private sphere being made public with technology. The camera does that really, really well, capturing a selfie at home and posting it online to your 10,000 followers will make those lines blurred. So people no longer, what is privacy to people? Do we also take photos without permission when we're in someone else's home? Or do we ask first? Generally, we don't, right? We just snap a photo and then out it goes. So that has become another question and been made easier with digital photography. Citizen journalism, because you have devices in your hand, you're able to capture images around you faster, quicker, instantaneously. And then you are also able to upload it and present it as to your news platform. Now, if you follow Malaysia Kini has a section where they take in citizens' images and citizens' reports and use it as a way to present news. Newsrooms have seen major budget clashes, major budget cuts. Therefore, they have to rely on citizens' input in photographs and information to be able to make up news, not make up news, but make up content on their site. And these days, you don't even have to go to like a site like Malaysia Kini or New York Times where they do draw citizens, source citizens images for news. You look at a viral video on any social media platform, and that can also be used as a news item after being verified and checked or investigated by journalists at hand. So all this is made easier with technology. What else can we say? Previously, it was also a very private thing, coming back to the private sphere, not shared beyond the family unit, but now move beyond the family unit out into your peer groups, out into maybe your working groups, and out to even across the world, because it's as easy as that to send your selfie or your images across. Manipulation is another topic. Now, with the ease of taking a digital photo, there's an ease of also manipulating it. I know so many cases of award-winning newswire photographers, or photojournalists winning their awards because of manipulation, setting up certain scenes in war zones to make it more dramatic, to draw in more readers, to draw in more viewers, and that can happen because it's so easy to take. It's also so easy to manipulate. It's also too easy to insert different elements in a photograph and present an inaccurate picture. And we know that people who are in for a political agenda, you can have doctored images and being presented in a different way that carries different meanings, will be really quite powerful and quite dangerous as well. So think about how you use the selfie, or you use photos on your social media feed. Does it allow you to keep the photos as like a keepsake on your social media feed, or are you using it to send a message to people who follow your feed, to send a message to your friends or followers? Are you also embracing a kind of celebritydom with it? Are you an influencer that does it? Do you also seek that sort of popularity or fame? The digital photography has made it easier for us to do that. The temporary nature of digital photographs has also changed the way we behave. Do we so value each photo we take, or because we are able to take tens of dozens of photos and delete many of them or edit many of them, are we diluting the value of a photograph with the advent of digital technology? Do we use it to emphasize our individualism in society? Do we use it to remind people that I am different from you? Is that the message that we give across? And do we also use it to just signify basically our identity? Like in this last tweet here, most celebrities don't do autographs anymore. They do selfies with you. And if you meet someone on the street, wherever you're at, you do a selfie with them too, to just show that I'm able to access, as a fan, I'm able to access someone I admire or someone that I'm following with the ease of photography. So these are just some of the notes that you can look at. How perhaps thinking about how digital photography used in social media, looking at answering one of the topics for the final essay, how has that changed the way you communicate within your own family? Are selfies a thing you do with your family? Are Wi-Fi a thing you do with your family? Is that how you communicate with, say, a brother that lives across the globe? How significant is that action of sending that communication across the globe using a selfie? How does it represent you? How does it convey your message? Sad pictures, happy pictures, what is it that you're trying to convey to the audience with digital photography? Has it brought the family closer? Has it changed the way your older generation like your parents, your grandparents view photographs? Were they very camera shy, or are they very comfortable now with the ease of the access to technology, like a digital camera or an iPhone with a very good camera? How do you think has that changed the dynamics of how you communicate with your family members? So that's just the last point. If you are looking to analyze the social media's influence in affecting the way your family members communicate with one another.